And what song did Chubby Checker make a big hit and dance? That Twist. Okay, very good. Okay. This time, backed by popular demand from last year, the man who tells stories, tall tales, and a lot of lies, our comic man, Del Mitchum.
Hi guys. We've been doing a lot of reminiscing, wife and I, lately, and I remembered about a month ago we were on a little vacation, and we saw a bar that said free Wi-Fi. I said, well, we got to go in there. So we went in there, and I asked the guy, what's the Wi-Fi password? He says, you need to buy a drink first. So I said, give me a Coke. He said, that's $5. I go, holy cow. He said, what's the Wi-Fi password? So with a smile, he says, I already told you, you need to buy a drink first. No spaces, lowercase. One of my neighbors and his wife not doing too well, and he told me the other day, he asked her, if I win the lotto, what are you going to do? She says, I want to take half and leave. So he says, last week I won $12, here's $6. Last fall I was over in the park and I saw this little young man, and he had a whole bag full of Halloween candy, and he was just eating it left and right. And this lady walked up to him and says, young man, you have to stop that. You know, you're going to get fat, you're going to get acne, you won't live as long. And he says, my grandfather lived to be 105. She says, well, did he eat 5 candy bars all at once? He said, no, ma'am, he just minded his own business. My wife drags me down to Kohl's now and then, so I'm down there the other day, and a blind guy came in with his seeing eye dog. And it was a small dog, and before you know it, he's taking that dog and whipping him around, and the clerk was mortified and says, sir, you know, what's wrong? Can I help you? Oh, no thanks, he said, just looking around. Walt says I tell lies. My niece is a teacher. She was telling me the other day a strange little story. This little girl was telling the class about Jonah and the whale. And the teacher was explaining to the class, the whale's a huge animal, but the throat's not that big actually, and it's impossible to swallow a human being. The little girl was pretty miffed. She said, when I get to heaven, I'm going to ask him. The teacher says, well, what happens if he didn't go to heaven? She says, well, then you ask him. You know, the other night I was showing my wife my new sexy pajamas, and she clapped and clapped and clapped, and all they did was turn the lights off and on. She sent me off to Albertsons the other day for a bunch of stuff, and I accidentally bumped the car in front of me with my car. And the guy comes screaming out of there. He was so mad, and he was a dwarf. And I said, are you okay? He says, I'm not happy. I said, well, which one are you then? Turning. I have a cousin in Louisiana that has a farm. It's a nice place. He's got kind of a swimming hole way in the back, and an apple orchard and picnic tables. And he said the other day he went and got a bucket. He went to pick some apples. And so as he approached the pond, he could hear splashing and giggling. And there was a bunch of ladies skinny dipping. So as soon as they saw him, they moved over into the deep end. And they said, we're not coming out. Don't try to trick us. And he said, well, I wouldn't do that. He says, he held his bucket up and says, I'm just here to feed my alligator. A year ago, I went down to see him. And while he was there, looking around his farm, I see this pig with a wooden leg. And I said, how did the pig get the wooden leg? He said, oh, that pig's great. He says, one time my horse fell on me and pinned me down. That pig ran and got help just like Lassie. And I said, well, is that how you get the wooden leg? He said, no. He says, one time we had a fire in the farmhouse, and that pig yelled and screamed and squealed and woke us all up. That pig is great. I said, how did he get the wooden leg? He says, are you kidding? A pig that great? You wouldn't eat all at once. The other day I was here in the clubhouse and I see this, what appeared to be a lonely old lady sitting there, and a kind of a handsome older guy sat down next to her. She says, are you new here in the colony? He said, well, I used to live here years ago. She said, well, where you been? He said, well, I've been in prison. She said, well, could I ask why? He says, I killed my wife. So there's kind of a long pause, and then she says, so you're single?